Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Prairie Banana over here in pTGC and UFO, the two index tokens that are the best of the entire chain. We're going to have a Spaces call on my cell phone right here. And this is how we do it. Every Monday night, same bat time, same bat channel. So we're going to jump in. I got set up a little bit late. Let's see what we have to say tonight. Good evening. Make sure my volume is up. There we go. That's better, probably. How's it going, Zen?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. just finished my supper and just jumped on. I thought I had a few minutes, and I was like, I mean, that clock just ticks and it won't stop. And, I think I have my act together. I'm like, I think I'm prepared tonight. No, there's so many little pieces that they go to putting one of these together. I haven't even dropped it in the main Telegram yet. So I need to do that.
Oh yeah, I threw the link in there. I noticed.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
But yours has the YouTube. I'd throw yours in there also. How you normally put it.
All right. Yeah. Teamwork, man. Around here, we're all unpaid volunteers, uncompensated volunteers. However, we will be compensated. Actually, that's how I look at it. All hard work pays off. It really does. Sometimes you might have to wait years. It's okay. All right, we'll drop this in the Telegram.
We had a nice little bounce on pTGC today.
I'd say, man. When's the last time we saw 24%? Was it maybe?
Doing all right over there, Zen?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
I mean,
you sounded a little bit like, I don't know, worn.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good.
Very nice bounce.
Yeah, it might have been 2 weeks since we saw a bounce like that. Honestly, it happens so frequently in crypto.
Yeah, I was excited to use from the pTGC-UFO website that little image that shows the RH cores next to pTGC.
Oh, I haven't looked at that yet.
I posted on the Grade 369. Since it was made, I haven't had a good day to use it. And I saw pTGC was up, so I was like, oh, this is a good day to post this.
Okay. Hey, YouTube guys. Thank you for being here. I'm going to show what he's talking about on the screen.
Either on my Twitter or also you could just go to ptgc-ufo.com and see it under the socials tab. Anyone, if you want to use it, and there's also some other cool socials things you could post on there too.
Yeah, I just pulled it up for the viewers on YouTube. So if you scroll down, just tell me if this is not what you're talking about. You scroll down to the liquidity pairs, and then there's this little button right here, and you can click on it, and it will show the RH cores, only the RH cores, and it shows the volume. Right now, $48,000 in volume with RH cores. And then the liquidity, $979,000. And then if you go back to all, the volume is $54,000. And liquidity is nearly double. So there's a lesson in that, man. Did you catch that, Zen?
Yeah, that we pretty much with pTGC, half the liquidity is with RH cores, the other half is with other assets on the chain,
But there's more. The liquidity, okay, with RH cores is 979,000, volume 48,000. Non-RH cores, liquidity nearly double, and volume 50. And this is all, I'm sorry, this is all of them. But the point is we got $5,000 in volume on the non-RH cores. Double the
Yeah,
volume.
the RH cores, I'd say obviously the main one is the PLS pair where humans are interacting through. So that one's obviously usually going to have the most volume because that's the one the human interaction kind of moves through.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yep.
But also great to see that, the other pairs are kind of doing their little thing as well.
Yeah. They'll never stop.
But that wasn't the image I was talking about. And I can show you where the image is as well if you want to find it.
Okay. Click on the socials tab.
Yeah, the socials tab up at the top.
Okay.
And then go to the combined section. There's pTGC, UFO, and then combined.
Yep.
And it's the last box.
The grays and the cores, 24-hour price comparison. Oh, yeah. Right. Okay. I did not even catch this is where you were going.
And then you can also click, I think, different time frames as well.
Yes.
Which, hopefully moving into the next week, moving into the next month, moving into the next 3 months, if we can, get a bounce here on Pulse Chain or get a bounce here within pTGC just from our own natural efforts or a bounce within the market, even if it's still a downtrend market or whatever, there can still be bounces. We will start to see, I believe, the 7-day, the 30-day, and the 90-day looking pretty good towards pTGC as well. And it's a great tool for the community to use to, just share and market and post and comment with. And that's really what that whole section is for. It's just a bunch of different images that you can kind of crop and push around if you're looking for images to push around instead of memes all the time if you want to push some data around and stuff like that.
And where are those images again?
They're every single box.
Oh, right.
So how you picked the 24-hour cores at 24-hour price with cores, like every single one of there's like 20 different boxes. You can click any one of them and they have their own little custom image based on 24-hour performance and stuff like that.
Yeah. Now this one is impressive. The one you took me to, which is the grays and the cores 24-hour price comparison. Because what it's showing, guys, is the grays, pTGC and UFOs performance against the cores, and then you can see their own performance right here. So, for example, pTGC is up in the last 24 hours 18%, but it's up against Pulse. No, I think Pulse is up 4.9%. Pulse is
that's all it's showing. It shows what each individual token is up on the 24-hour time period.
Yep. Wow.
So the reason I asked Shaka to make this one is on Pulse Coin List, they have a RH. They have just the cores, and you can screenshot from their site, and it will just show like the price movement of the 24 hours for all of the RH tokens. And then you can either turn it to RH memes mode, and it will also add the RH memes. And you can also toggle it over to SAMI mode, and it will show like PDI and PRAP Bitcoin. They love using that image, right? They love showing, when PDI or PRAP Bitcoin is having a better day alongside the cores. So I was like, I want one of those images too. I want to have a nice image with pTGC and UFO alongside the cores, so we can show when we're having good days. Yeah,
I'm glad you got what you wanted, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, you tickled my funny bone right there. Like, I want one too. Yeah, we all want one. Just didn't know it. This is a cool, super cool metric, man. Hexy Trucker says there will be a time when this crypto pTGC is going to moon so fast, everyone will be forced to buy and keep buying as it goes up. That'll be an epic forced buyers club. So Yeah. And then on that same graphic, you can zoom out 7 days, 30 days, and then 90 days. I imagine that will be added. That's not the end. I don't think 90 days is the end. It might go out to 180 and 100, 365 or a year.
He told me the reason why all of his 90 day or all of like the stats he provides is 90 days.
Okay.
I don't quote me on the exact information, but it's something like where a lot of this data is pulled from is like Gecko Terminal, or I think he even pulls some from Morales Terminal, or maybe it's straight from the Deck Screener Terminal, like where you get to actually gather this data. And PulseChain actually doesn't have a good source for all this stuff. You have to kind of piece a lot of the information together, and I guess something like to get the longer time frames, it was either going to cost money or had to, something along those lines. So I think it is just staying at the 90 days because that's like what one of the providers offered for free. If you want to see the longer time frames, we have it on the Go pTGC site, or the new site that's coming.
Right.
And you can go to the it doesn't show it against all the cores, but you could look at the time frames against Pulse, Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
A little bit different, comparison. That's more against like the more legacy or mainstream tokens, but you can go larger time frames there if you want to push a little further.
And I'm going to find that right now. Taking a minute to upload to my computer.
Yeah, I would say even anything past the 7 days right now, just knowing the market, I bet even the 7 days is kind of low. Their pTGC and UFO is probably going to be on a massive discount on all of those time frames, right? Like I think the all-time high for pTGC was February 11th. So, we're 9 days away from 1 year since the all-time high. So we're, definitely had, in my opinion, our pullback, which is part of it, right? The inhales and the exhales, which I definitely look at as just an amazing opportunity right here. The fact that, we're a year into technically from our all-time high, and we are at very, very low levels, bull and bear markets, not saying that we're turning into a bull market right now, but we've already had a massive consolidation or correction. Our distribution has just gotten so good in the last year. The things that we're bonded to are hitting all-time low prices. pTGC is hitting some of the lowest prices that we've seen in, an entire year, even going into 2 years. So, I just look at right now as an amazing opportunity to scoop up those tokens for way cheaper than they should be. PulseChain has dragged those tokens to very, very low dollar prices. And some people are going to get at them. The DAO is going to get at them. The automatic functions within pTGC are going to get at them. Automatic functions within UFO are going to get at them. And community members are going to get at them too, because there's still only so many in liquidity. Just because PulseChain's dragged our price down so low, that doesn't mean there's more tokens in liquidity necessarily. There's still only roughly 3% of the supply in liquidity right now for purchase. And you can get at that remaining supply for right now, like very, very cheap prices due to Hart's Law, pretty much due to correlated assets. And I think that's screaming opportunity. The fact that really no one really knows about PulseChain right now. We're not bringing in tons of new users to PulseChain. Crypto's kind of going down right now, but we have this opportunity here where we can see that this really scarce asset, a lot of it's not going back on the market. But the reason this massive discount is here isn't so much because of pTGC. Obviously, there was a little pullback on pTGC as well, ratio-wise, but I think we're kind of finding that floor. But where we're really seeing that discount is the things that we are bonded to have just pulled back massively. And that in dollar form, like if you are stabled up or you have fiat or if you're onboarding people, you're getting a lot of tokens for a cheap price.
Yeah, you could pick up 1 million pTGC right now for $88. I haven't even looked at UFO, but that's under $100 for 1 million. At the top, it was, what was it for a million? Do you remember? I want to say it was like, it was $1,300. That's what it was. $1,300 at the top. Right now, it's less than $100 for 1 million. And then for UFO, what's an equivalent? That would be like 3 million, right? Equivalent if you're talking about supply.
Yeah, that'd be like 3 million.
Yeah, Zen, I'm looking at, I was looking today at the chart, and certain people that watch the system and know it like the back of their hand, they see a lot of things that most other people don't see. But I'm looking at where Bitcoin is, and I'm thinking Bitcoin could probably go down to 50,000.
Mm.
And if the top, I'm thinking that we probably have 6 to 8 months to find a bottom, but that's not a lot of time. And I'm thinking that, Pulse Chain, it can obviously go lower, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to go like Megatron lower. So I'm trying to piece together like all these different metrics that really determine the value of pTGC. And on top of that, we have new buyers coming in. We have people that are taking new positions. So it's very interesting because what I'm seeing, like if you go on the monthly chart against Pulse Chain, you're starting to see that it's moving up against Pulse Chain. Obviously, Pulse Chain's going down, and there's more buys on pTGC than there is on Pulse Chain. But at some point, Pulse levels out, and the ratio spread that happens now, like if we get to like a 10-to-1 or a 12-to-1 or whatever it is, it just seems to me like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, how much more down, like relevant, elongated down really is there at this point? Because you're already 70,000's Bitcoin, and like ETH already went into the 300-week moving average. We're past the sacrifice stuff for ProveX. If Richard launches that, I believe that people will come in and start buying that, which will prop the chain back up a little bit. I don't know how much and for how long, but if we're figuring that there's only about 6 to 8, and when I'm on like the bigger channels and I'm talking to some bigger investors, and I'm going on the dailies like you guys, some of you guys maybe do as well, with the bigger hedge funds guys, they're having a really hard time even believing that Bitcoin is going to go much further down. I think it can easily go down to the 300-week in the environment that we're in. But I think that what that means for pTGC, man, is like, can you imagine a $10 million market cap pTGC?
Yeah, it's obviously possible, right? Like we don't know what Pulse Chain has in store. We don't know what, obviously a holder could sell and we could flash crash down there.
But Zen, think about it, bro. Wouldn't you think, and we don't have a crystal ball, but wouldn't you think that all the people who were going to sell large amounts have already sold?
Yeah, I think that's why we've been able to.
You actually made a post about that.
Yeah, I think that's why we have kind of created a floor, and obviously floors can be broken, but we've kind of created this floor at this 20-25 mil market cap. But Pulse Chain has been hitting new all-time lows during that period.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. We're starting to see the system hold this market cap while RH's cores keep going down.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, you know, if
but it's not like it's the beginning of a bear. We're already 4 or 5 months in.
Yeah. We're through a lot of the correction, right? Like we have a 120K Bitcoin, and now where are we at today? 70 something?
It was like 70, 77, 78.
Okay.
But the consensus amongst like the big boys is that it's definitely it can definitely go lower, right? You know, the 57, 58,000 range is like where the big boys are talking. The 300 week is lower than that, but they just don't think it could go that low just because it's just a more mature market and whatnot. But still, if 57 is the bottom and we're at 77, does that even really affect pTGC at this point? Like in the grand scheme of things, probably not all that much.
Yeah, I think obviously players are looking most likely at like that 20 mil market cap range. And I bet if we went below that, there's probably some buyers right there. I think we're sitting pretty strong here at the 20-25 mil. If Pulse Chain even went to drop a zero, you know, very possible. I think we could still hold this 20 mil market cap range, just due to how we're kind of supporting ourselves up right now with organic growth, right? Like onboarding users, increasing our community, buy and burns with our system, like kind of how we've done it in the past. Like pTGC has been on a chain going down pretty much since its launch. And we've been very, very successful in all types of environments. So sometimes when it gets really tough like this, like I feel like this is where pTGC can thrive. Every single day you can see the buying and burning happening. The community gets to work and is onboarding people at awesome prices. Like if there was some time to onboard someone into pTGC, you have this floor being created in ratio and at this 20 mil market cap, and you have Pulse Chain at all-time low prices. Some of the best times, right? I think that's obviously why we're up 18% today is someone got onboarded.
Yeah, it was a nice couple of buys that came in today for sure. Some nice activity. And you know, the amount of tokens, man, at a 25 million market cap or lower that, you know, holders are getting, it's just a lot more. When that valuation comes down, you know, for anybody who's learning about this, anything between a 25 and down, you're really getting a really nice amount of tokens every day just hitting your account.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're talking APY.
I'm talking APY. I mean, the APY in terms of token count, right?
Yeah. No, I was talking about something a little different, but that's a huge thing to kind of talk about. I actually would love to go into this conversation because you've been a part of the other massive moves out of these low ranges. And you kind of remember when things get lower and volume starts picking up, you're earning a lot of tokens daily. But
Zen, bottom line, I'm looking at what I'm earning daily right now. And in my mind, I know what I value these tokens at, and it's a lot of money. I'm just like, man, I can't believe I'm getting this many tokens every day for free, essentially, in this system. Because, you know, I'm revaluing it back up to different ranges, and it's like, man, I'm actually making this every day when I'm making this many tokens, right?
Yeah, and like if you don't recall, when we start moving back up, they're still not all the way at their price higher ranges, but when we start moving up, as you recall, that's when the volume really starts to pick up too. So it's not so much only about what you're earning down here at the bottom, but you're able to actually get your position to the size you want for cheap, right? Like obviously you might have the size position that you're looking for, but a lot of people don't, right? Like a lot of people found out about pTGC as it was moving up or after it's already moved up a lot to where getting significant amounts where it's costing them tons of value. But right now, like you are actually able for still a decent chunk of money, but you're actually able to pick up that shark position or that dolphin position if that's what you're trying to get your portfolio to. And then you get to reap the rewards, the APY at the bottom and all the way back up.
Zed, you want to know something funny? you guys might all laugh along with me, but
Okay.
I actually have a wallet that every day I literally buy like $3 to $5 worth of pTGC in this wallet. It's just an experiment. And every day I'm just dollar cost averaging like $5 in this thing. And it's accumulating millions of these tokens over the course of months, right? But right now it's accumulating a lot more for $5. And I know that sounds kind of funny, but you know, when you can buy, what is it right now? What is it right now for $5 worth? $5.
57,000 tokens.
Yeah, $5 is 58,241 tokens, right? So let's just put it at 58,000 tokens. And at the top, I think that was about $76. 'Maybe it was more.
13 times 5. More than 13, but close. I think it's 15 times 5. 75,
Well,
$75.
Wasn't the top 0.0013?
Yes.
Okay. So if you've got 58,000 times 0.0013, yeah, that's $75.40.
Yep.
So every $5 I'm popping in there now used to be $75.40. Right. So I'm just sitting here just kind of, and I think a lot of people, you know, I think that's kind of funny.
No.
But let me tell you, that's a lot better than not making $75.40 every day for $5, you know, in an asset like this. So I have this little thing kind of set up that generates me a little bit of money every day. And it's just literally this tiny drip system. And here I am with, you know, a very nice position in the system. But still, I'm playing around with it because these tokens are just massively undervalued. And if Pulse-Chain, once the whole risk-on environment comes back, a whole new cycle of people, and you never know what's going to happen. It's just getting interesting, Zen, because I think that with Bitcoin already coming down to the 70s and ETH already past the 300 week, it's very compelling because I just don't see it going down. Like, it can't go down that much further. I mean, I guess everything could go to zero, but let's be realistic. So the proposition of like the top 20, top 30 holders of pTGC at this point, like selling some copious amount, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And if somebody needs to sell a good amount, it would obviously happen in one-off times. And there's a big amount of people waiting for dips on this thing there. I'm just, you know, it's like, wow, you know, we're kind of at an inflection point where you have to ask yourself where the value really begins and ends, you know?
Yeah, I see William in here, and I sent a message to him today. It's just something that we had a conversation going back and forth, and we were talking about like what it really does when prices come to these levels. And I was mentioning it's like kind of like pulling all the weeds from your grass, and then he used the word, it's like it's hard work, but you're purging your garden of all the weeds and everything like that. These low prices, it's hard, right? Onboarding in times like this is hard. Educating, you know, increasing the value of your protocol is hard, But after you're done with all this hard work, what you have is such a clean garden. And when we make our way out of like these discounted zones, I think what pTGC recovers out of these low prices as will just be so much more sustainable and have so much more longevity going into what I hope to believe a nice run on Pulse Chain compared to last year. Because every single time we do these, you know, we move up and then we come back down, there's distribution. And we move up and when we come back down, there's distribution. Every time we do that before Pulse Chain actually makes a decent run, to me, it means we're going to be that much more sustainable to the gains when they do come.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, like you look at a big player in the system, you're 2.5 years in, you've pretty much tested that user with everything you could imagine. FUD, you know, price up, they didn't sell when price was up. Price down, they didn't sell when price was down. 2.5 years of time. Obviously, time doesn't matter that much with them. They're still holding on for time. So, you know, obviously things come up or things happen, but for the most part, it seems like bigger players actually believe in the system long term. You know, sustainability. Obviously, I think the APY is a big motivating factor for these users, and then also the scarcity. They can see those tokens just disappearing constantly every single day. And then there's not much even out there for anyone. So if any remote amount of demand comes into this chain, you're technically holding the most liquid asset that pays you APY on the whole entire chain. Plus, there is just not even any tokens on the market for the demand when it comes in, which obviously forces price upwards. But I do think, you know, this extended bear, or whatever you want to call this environment of Pulse Chain, what it has created for pTGC is where we're getting a lot of the hard work done beforehand. Like if we can, we've already been increasing our community size and increasing the distribution constantly. But if we, you know, let's say we still have some time until a big move on Pulse Chain or a big move on the market comes. And if we can make that distribution and that supply scarcity even stronger, like more buy and burns, more LP ads, and more community, like we're set up for such a massive move. But more importantly, we're set up to sustain that massive move. Right? Like to me, the success of the product isn't from one massive move where a bunch of people get trapped in at the top and then are stuck in a loss at the bottom. What we want is massive move with sustainability, and then massive move with sustainability, and then massive move with sustainability, to where if a user is willing to wait, you know, between the inhales and the exhales, they do get put into profits. And then, you know, obviously then APY picks up, and then they're part of like the next generation of the ecosystem. And this could be every 6 months, this could be yearly, this is bi-yearly. It all depends on the market. But if we can create a system that actually can then go and make higher highs throughout, you know, bull markets and bear markets, this is what everyone is looking for. With the built-in APY, with the burnt liquidity, with the ability to do decent amounts of X's, you know, not just 20% moves in 2 years and stuff like that. Like people want to see significant amount of returns for being in this type of asset class. If we can check all those boxes, which from what I'm seeing right now, mechanically, we're checking all the boxes. The liquidity, we're checking all the boxes. Obviously, we've even had the conversations about building up some of the more legacy liquidity pools. If we can if we at these low levels could increase the community size by roughly 3,000, knowing how much tokens are just left, knowing how many of the tokens are currently in strong hands and don't seem to be moving, I think we're going to set ourselves up for our own success with or without the help of Pulse Chain. Obviously, the help of Pulse Chain will increase our success, but I believe we can be very successful even if Pulse Chain decided to sit down here for a while, or if it just bounced up and down in the range from here to, let's say half a SAC price. I know that's hard for a lot of people to hear, but there's obviously some distribution that has to go on, to get Pulse Chain up to higher levels. And I think we do have what it takes to kind of start making Pulse Chain after we hit some lows on the general market and then we start moving back up. I do think Pulse Chain has what it takes at this point to start grinding upwards, but that doesn't mean that we can't start grinding upwards in assets like pTGC and UFO while we wait on the larger assets. That's the nice thing about smaller assets is you are able to kind of create your own market, your own bull runs with just some hard work effort.
So one of the things I've been looking at is in the top 50 is where those last few positions reside. And not too long ago, it was a few weeks ago, maybe during Christmas, for the first time, the top, the 50th, 49th, 47th went into the 800 million range. Previous to that, they'd always been in the billions, or in the 1 billion area in terms of token amount. But at this point, it's started to move up again. So you don't have anyone in the 800 million range anymore on page one. The 50th largest position has 964 billion, 964 billion, 994 billion. So we hit kind of a tipping point, and now if you go on to the second page, users are actually net positive on a weekly basis, going up in token count.
And what set are you on?
That's on the Explorer, where I'm looking at the holders.
Oh, okay.
And I'm taking a look at I'm basically looking at the habits of the top holders. And
okay.
what I'm seeing, and what Zen, you can verify this, but we kind of know the habits of the holders at this point, right? And it's not like knowing that there's like a six month, maybe 8 month tops, and Bitcoin could just literally zip right around and just go a different route. That was a big part of the conversation today. Was we're kind of in uncharted territory, and we kind of don't know which way this thing's going to go. But my point is that the system is burning a lot more tokens down here at this price. There's 13.02% now of the token supply burned. The DAO hasn't even been doing buy and burns. And we've added 72 new wallet holders since we crossed over the 17,000 threshold, which is awesome. But now the tokens are going into strong hands. At these levels, all the holders are getting a lot more tokens in their hands. And we know that if they choose to sell those, $50 a day or $100 a day or $30 a day of tokens or whatever, all that's doing is just churning out more volume and burning more coins and adding more liquidity. But those were tokens that were bought and then sent as yield. So that it's a canceled out effect, right? So I guess what I'm saying is that from all these different metrics that we're looking at, I feel like the only thing that can really take pTGC down lower is that bonded liquidity with Pulse Chain, if Pulse Chain's ecosystem goes lower, right? But it seems to be that it's kind of like a hidden blessing in a way, because the lower it goes, the higher the spread and ratio we can go against it for when things turn around. And that's kind of like that big conversation we had last month about the power and the velocity of that turnaround. And this is before any of this new system and the new site and the referral program, and just kind of like sensing the second that the community at large senses that crypto's turned around and it's going back up, dude, it's going to be a ripsaw event, in my opinion, from here. You're already seeing the holders went from going down every week in terms of their token counts to now it's starting to go back up again. But you won't see that on the chart necessarily. There's so much that goes on with pTGC's end that you don't necessarily see on the chart. That's what makes it so difficult.
Yeah, one thing I've always kind of paid attention to is whenever pTGC gets oversold and Pulse Chain gets oversold, and I'm not looking at it right now, and if it's in oversold territory as far as like MACDs and stuff like that go. But what I've seen for some of the larger time frames, when we start going into those ranges, like week, 3 day, 1 day, stuff like that, has been amazing times to get into pTGC, even if it's just a flip, right? Or if it's you're using Pulse Chain and you just wait for that 2x and then you get your Pulse Chain back, or however you choose to do it. But it's been so far it's been a great place to enter into the system if you want to be exposed to the system. And like you said, there's so many different things to look at: the holder counts, distribution, the burn supply that's happening all day. You know, for an example, in the last 24 hours, I think it's like $2,000 of pTGC that's been bought and burned. Keep in mind, we're at very low levels. Let me look at the new site, not the dashboard. Let me just see the quantity of tokens real quick. And my point is, you know, we're at these low levels in price, but our buy and burns have been a little bit higher. So it's actually $1,311 of buy and burns the last 24 hours. That's 14 million tokens, right? And at higher levels, that's a lot of tokens that we're taking off market that are not ending up in users' hands that will ever sell. And that's something that I really like paying attention to, because when we start moving up, a lot of the tokens that are getting bought right now, like, you know, for an example, that's almost a dolphin position or whatever, you're not going to see that ever hit the market again because it's in the dead address.
Yeah, that's one of the things maybe you can talk about right now, because we haven't had any buy and burns really, and you know there's obviously a balance between holding until you're bottoming and adding LPs with some legacy stuff, because that only happens once every 4 years, and you know whatever the balance is, right? But there is something to be said about, okay, $20-something million market cap for pTGC, like getting those coins out of there, dude, is a massive benefit, right? So whatever that balance looks like, just to me, dude, Pulse is whack right now, right? So as we're getting the Pulse, I would love to see like at least 25% of that Pulse just buying and burning freaking pTGC every damn time the proposal comes in at this point. Because how much cheaper do we actually think it's going to go? To 10 million, 15 million? We don't know. But I don't think it's going to go that much lower. I think that like we're getting there, right? Just based on everything, we're getting pretty close, in my opinion.
Yeah, obviously, like I think we want users to pick up this 3%, but like you said, there's like this constant balance going on where we also
I don't want users to pick
this
up
asset to be
3%.
very, very
I want the
scarce.
Dow to buy and burn that 3%. I want users to pay whatever they have to pay for a freaking phenomenal ecosystem. But I definitely
my point kind of was like, when we're at these low levels, if our community is going to go out there and like actively onboard, like it's best to do that at very, very low prices, right? Because the people you're onboarding, you want them to be successful in this industry. And by experts, you know, a lot of people that are in this space, I would consider probably experts, because you're pretty deep in the trenches of cryptocurrency. You're on a blockchain that pretty much no one mainstream is using, and etc. You know, if you're going to actively onboard people, pay attention to when you're doing it. You know, if you're doing it at literally the cheapest price the blockchain has ever existed, and a very good 2-year or 1-year pullback on one of the top assets on the chain, that is liquidity, community, huge bought and burn supply, roughly $100,000 in the DAO management wallet, etc. And then a new referral system that's coming out at the same time. There probably isn't a better time. And more what I was saying was, you know, I want community members to get at that, because I want our community to grow, because that's how we grow the ecosystem.
I guess those are two different train of thoughts. So I don't know why they merged.
Well, then the other train of thought is, we want this asset to have value, and we know scarcity drives value, right? So we want to keep it scarce. We want to constantly keep eating away at that supply at a consistent rate. Obviously, the market in general is going to provide opportunities, like I think is here right now, and the market will also provide tops. The sad truth, tops are where a lot of people do get onboarded, because that's where it's like loud, and then that's where it's green, and that's where FOMO kicks in. But the best point to onboard is usually when the max fear, but when you're like, gosh, I'm getting scared. And if you look at Pulse Chain right now, that's how I see a lot of people feeling. Screams to me like, usually that something's about to at least turn around temporarily.
So let me give you an example. So the system is buying and burning with the 0.5 with every transaction once it hits a threshold. If you look on whatever website that you're on, do you know what that amount was per today? How much the system burned today?
With the automatic function?
Yeah, just the automatic function.
$257.
Okay, so that's a 0.5. And the DAO is bringing in 2.
Right. DAO brought in $1,000 today, if that's what you're asking.
Right. So what I'm saying is that when it's low, when it's this low or lower, like kind of like, I look at this as like the beginning stage of like the DCA and all this, and I just want your opinion. I want your thoughts. I want everybody else to hear what I'm thinking. I feel like this range here, not only for Bitcoin, not only for ETH, it's like the biggest assets are way off in price, right? We're kind of hitting certain areas where even the biggest people in the world are like, this is starting to get into really good zone. But what I'm saying is that as the pulse is coming in, right? The DAO is bought, like you say, the DAO bought and burned 200, let's just say $50, or not the DAO, but the system, $250 worth today, right?
Just the system.
So another quarter of what came in from the DAO could double that up every day.
Yeah, like for example, the DAO today did like $1,000 buy and burn just because we're testing the referral system.
Oh, nice.
You know,
that's
we
beautiful.
bought. Yeah, we're buying with the DAO funds for the referral system, and obviously we just burnt those tokens that we bought. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone there, which good news on that. Me and Banana have been testing it pretty hardly, and
you're burning them all when you're doing it. Yeah.
Well, and the good news is, we've been running through small amounts, larger amounts, $500, $1,000, etc. And it's all functioning great. So it looks like
wonderful.
Looks like this thing is pretty much ready.
So is there anything left for you to go live? Is it just deciding, or are you still got a few things you're trying to look at?
I think it's pretty much ready to go live. I'm planning with Banana to just kind of do one last run over everything. Recheck the staking, locking, go back into the UFO LPs, run through all those one last time, and then obviously just recheck the referral system one last time, and then I think it's good is where I'm getting at. I just want to just do one last run through.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, because when you're doubling up, I mean, dude, I just feel like down here, these tokens are so undervalued. It's like, wow, man.
Yep. Yeah, I look at it like the 20 million market cap is not actually naturally where pTGC should be
at all.
When pTGC launched, Pulse Chain was at, I think, like half of SAT, something like that, right? So we've been swimming against the current for a long time. We're at all-time lows. So I look at it like Pulse Chain is actually giving us sale that actually would not be here if Pulse Chain was, at just a normal level. It didn't even need to do anything amazing.
Just imagine if we launched it and we didn't bond with Pulse or the ecosystem. We just bonded it with USDC.
Yeah, so exactly, right. The price wouldn't be here right now.
No, the price would be way freaking higher, dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
wow.
So yeah, I agree with you. I think there is an extreme discount on pTGC, not only because obviously we hit high levels and people took profits, but because the chain has dragged it down to very, very low prices. Ratio-wise, if you're using Pulse to get the pTGC, I don't look at that deal as amazing, right? The ratio we've still actually held decently. Obviously, I want to get that rate even higher against Pulse Chain, but in dollar value, if you're bringing in fiat or if you have stables, I think Pulse Chain is giving a steal on pTGC right now.
Yeah.
It is.
Pulse Chain is like 5x down below where it was when pTGC launched on it. Just about a 5x below. Because you're right, it was at 4052 in October 2023 when pTGC launched. And now it's
even if you didn't give pTGC any reflexivity, and we can go into why I think in a market where Pulse Chain is priced higher than here, I almost feel like reflexivity is a guarantee at this point. Every single time Pulse Chain moves up, pTGC moves up more. Mm-hmm. Every time value flows into Pulse Chain, value makes its way to pTGC in some form of way. If that's humans coming this way, if that's this way, us just buying, if it's one of our paired assets going on a nice run. But let's just say we didn't even get any reflexivity. That would just mean pTGC isn't at a $25 million market cap. It's at a $125 million market cap.
Yeah, because what do we have to move up just to get back to SAC rate? What is it, like almost
like
1,000
now?
10x,
yeah, it's about 10x. So, I mean, if we just didn't go down the 10x and we were just a freaking stable coin, you know, the system would literally be at, you know, I mean, you never know with everything else, obviously, but just running that math just on a basic level, I mean, the system itself would be, I don't even know. It would be at what, $250 million market cap?
Yeah. The 10x from here. And again, that's with no reflexivity. You know, keep in mind, if Pulse Chain was up 10x, that means new users came in, or at least old users came back. But new, fresh value came over that bridge. And then you have to ask yourself, where is that value going to go when it comes over that bridge? It's not going to just sit in Pulse.
No. It's going to speculate. And
well, I'm going to tell you right now.
And it's not so much even speculation, Banana. It's that there's code on a blockchain that actually makes up a better storage of value, the gas token of a blockchain.
Uh-huh.
You expose yourself to that right code. So they don't even have to be a massive speculator. They just could want to put their value in pretty much a form of a proxy of the gas specific features that are designed to give the user a better product to store value in.
Yeah, like APY.
APY, deflationary, scarce supply, you know, all the things that we believe in, obviously, within pTGC. Gas tokens are known or have proven to be great stores of value due to like their good product market fit and the fact that users need it to interact on the chain. But that doesn't mean they're the best store of value on a blockchain.
Yeah, no way. Yep. So Pulse,
especially, and this is my big one, they don't operate off of a massive reflexive nature. So when value flows into the chain, this is just how blockchain is set up. This is how tokens are set up. The blockchain is mainly paired with stables, and in our specific situation, we have a little bit of pairings with ETH, right? So we get a little bit of reflexivity when ETH starts to move up. Our stables kind of counteract that a little bit because a lot of our liquidity is with stables. But when value comes into the blockchain, that value goes right into PLS, right?
Yeah.
So PLS actually lifts everything, but everything isn't so much lifting PLS because it's way to the other asset the user wants to speculate on. So the use, like you said, or the assets the value makes its way to, we get the gains from PLS, but then we get the gains also from the users coming down to our specific asset, to where PLS itself doesn't have that benefit. So that's usually why the assets connected to the gas token end up doing more X's if they have good product market fit and a good community and a good sustainable ecosystem, mechanics, etc. Aren't just like a pump and dump meme token that is dead in 2 weeks. This is only really relevant for various, but it makes it to where it's so easy to outperform the gas token because we're operating with reflexivity that it just doesn't. Obviously, with acting with reflexivity, you're taking a step further that exposes you to a little bit more risk, right? Because you can actually have reflexivity to the negative direction if the users within the protocol are selling more than buying. But the blockchain's price moving upwards, that actually means value is flowing into the blockchain, which literally means more value is coming in than going out, which makes it more likely that your asset has been going out as well.
Yeah.
it's really interesting to break it down to that level, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, pTGC is up almost 20% on the day, and Pulse is up like 3 to 4%.
Uh-huh.
On the monthly, you're starting to get a green on the monthly in USD.
What?
If this month closes up in the green, that's the first green monthly close since we started that downtrend in the USD chart.
Which was in August.
Yeah, man. I think that we're at a tipping point. I'm not saying we can't go lower, but I definitely think we're at a tipping point for people to be very, just pay more attention if you have any serious interest in this protocol, because obviously it's contingent on, does Bitcoin go to 60? Does Bitcoin go to 58 or whatever? Does ETH go to, 1700 or whatever hell? But just because Bitcoin goes to 60 and ETH goes to 1700 or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean that this protocol is going to give a shit.
It's 85x away from, if Pulse goes just to sacrifice price and pTGC does a 10x against Pulse, it's 85x for pTGC holders from here. 85x.
Yeah, there's so much discussion right now about yield and about things generating you yield. I mean, amongst all the biggest people in the world.
I've heard it too. Man.
Yeah, the whole thing with the CBDCs and the Genius Act and Coinbase, they don't want to let them earn yield over there, but they're like, yeah, no, you don't get to have a monopoly over a private company sharing their profits with their customers. That's just because you want them to stay in your little thing, to the banks, and then ETH yield and all these different protocols that help people generate money. And if you go to Coinbase, you take your USDC, you got to go do the thing. It's all, it's in quotes safe, but this is a trustless way, and it's with such a high speculation of like upward potential on the APY you're earning. It's just astronomical, dude. And with a 26, 27, 28 month track record, it'll probably be, 30 plus month track record by the
think we lost you, Mando, or did you guys lose me? I must have dropped out.
No, it looks like Mando dropped out. I heard a noise and then I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I heard it too.
Might have got a call or something.
Mando, you there?
Yeah, he's in listener now, so he maybe dropped down for callers.
Okay.
Did I get rugged or what?
Yeah, about 30 seconds ago.
That's crazy. Yes. Anyway, I was just saying, man, it just looks like to me, like, this is the beginning stage of where people really need to start paying a close attention, a lot closer attention to the ins and outs of pTGC's ecosystem and the price, the valuations, because there's a lot of people that want these tokens, and there's a lot of people that are already in the community that sold at higher levels, that are going to be buying back in as soon as they think that there's a reversal. So not only is there new people coming, I told Zen, and I showed Zen, this isn't BS, this is proof. I've got a guy that contacted me this week, over $500,000. They potentially want in with over $500,000 to up to $1 million. And they're looking for OTC deals. And I told them that we can't do that. All the tokens are in circulation. And I got hit up again today because the price is down. And he's asking me, he's like, man, if anybody wants to, you know, I'm like, dude, nobody wants to sell that has a bunch of these tokens.
No.
You know?
Uh-uh.
So there's new people coming in. There's large holders that are new entities looking at this, and they're wanting positions. There's bigger players that are in this system that did sell some of their stuff at higher levels that are looking to re-enter when they feel like it's bottomed out. And, you know, the system is already fluctuating in the millions of market cap per day. I mean, we just went from 21 million today up to 25.5 million in one day. Right? So I just don't think that at this point, people should really be kind of looking at their plan. Because you guys, you know how fast, like the reversal, as fast as it tops is as fast as it bottoms. And you never know exactly when it's going to happen.
Yes.
So it's going to be very interesting from here.
Yeah. Does anyone else care to come up and chat?
There's a couple guys up, but they might just be hanging out listening. I'm sure they'll speak up if they want to chat. You got anything on YouTube?
No, there actually haven't been any questions on YouTube. I think we had 12 people on Spaces it was either last Monday or the Monday before. There were literally like 12 people, and now we've got probably 30.
I did win the pTG game, the game from pTGC.
Oh, did you?
Oh, did you really, bro?
Yeah, I didn't win, but nobody plays it anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's just because it just doesn't get funded right, you know. But and you know, nobody wants to just put their money in a slot machine right now, dude. You know. Did you win?
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, I won like 14,000 tokens. It wasn't a lot, but it was like, because I went to claim some stuff, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, that's a little bit more than usual. And then I was like, oh yeah, I did play that game. And then I went there and I saw my wallet, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. I think a new game begins when the old one. I forget what does trigger the new game.
Every 3 days.
I think there's something else to it. There's some other kind of trigger that causes a new game. Yeah, I think that's going to be part of the pTGC history.
Yeah, you want to know something? I was just, going through the site and I saw it and I was like, wow, I wonder if this is new because nobody's playing it. And I was like, I'll donate 25K.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still, guys, there's still activity. Wallet activity on ETH is increasing a lot. And Solana and ETH and even Base, their speculation even now is kind of like churning up, even though it's like a super depressed feeling market. Memes are still doing their thing. They're just not, it's not as explosive, but there's still a lot of money to be made right now on ETH and Base and Solana for the whole shit coining thing. to me, it's just the second that the markets turn around, it's game time, dude.
Oh yeah.
It's freaking game time. And it's like you always feel the doldrums of darkness when everybody's just kind of shit in the bed, but guys, this is par for the course. The same shit that happens every time. And it just all of a sudden it turns around and ETH's back at freaking 4,000 and Bitcoin's back at 125 and everyone's speculating it's going to the moon.
Well, you're rinsing out the older whales, and you'll bring in new money, and that's when you'll get your new high. Right now, all of the people that got in super low on ETH and Bitcoin happen to be selling right now. But we have way too many fucking whales holding Pulse Chain hostage. I mean, they sell every day, nonstop.
Yeah, but none of them are in profits. That's the most interesting thing. They're out of profits under
when yeah, but when they sacked, and you got to remember something. Some people live in the United States. I mean, when they sacked out, they got a fucking tremendous amount of coins, and if they sell it at a loss, right? And some of these people are multi-millionaires, if not billionaires.
Oh, of course.
They write that off against their wins. They don't give a fuck. It's just like 10,000 a day, 20,000 a day. They don't care. If it's a loss, they write it off against their wins.
That's why I really hope that Richard designed this ProveX so that he could just freaking offer fat OTC deals to these guys and just buy them all out.
I know one that I'd like him to buy out. I hope he buys out his pTGC too.
Yeah, he doesn't really have any more.
Oh, he is. Is he done? No, he's got to have some.
No, I mean, just very little. We know, very little. He's got more UFO. To be honest with you.
Oh,
and
okay,
he's been
good.
selling all of it. He's
all the UFO too.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he's not completely out, he's pretty much almost there.
To be honest with you, brother, he's pointless in the system at this point. Can do no harm in the system. He's out pretty much.
With PLS and PLSX, he can. He's got almost unlimited coins.
Well, right, but I don't care about that. We were talking about pTGC. At the end of the day, dude, he doesn't have unlimited coins. Nobody has unlimited coins. Only Richard really has unlimited coins. But I will say,
in anyone right now, even if they got the best amplification for sacking the most amount of money,
they're down,
selling
way down,
3x lower than what they got for.
Yeah,
prices are so low right now.
And Lika, the inverse can be said about your remark, right? They're so rich, right? Well, if these guys got hundreds of millions, even billions, do they really need to sell a shit coin that's down in the middle of a bear market? Of course not.
He's doing it for spite because of the shrinkage of the fucking of the payouts.
I think it's more just that the chain doesn't have a lot of liquidity, and he does want some value back. And the only way he can get at some of that value is by taking a little on a daily basis. And I think for Pulse Chain, honestly, a $10,000 or $20,000 sell on a daily basis from its biggest whale is the least of our worries. Like, we should be onboarding that tenfold every day if we want to be successful here.
Oh, I agree. We should. This ProveX thing has put a big damper on everything too. I mean, we don't even have no word, no nothing on what's going on with us. Because I'm waiting. I have money on the side that I'm waiting for it to launch So everybody will sell their coins, I think, or their core coins to get into the shiny new thing, and I'm going to scoop up everything.
You know what's interesting about this is that when they sacked, Pulse was much higher. Now they couldn't sack their Pulse or their RH coins, but what I'm saying is that you have to think that RH will probably not want to deploy the token with the chain this low. In my opinion, he will probably raise the valuations of the blockchain as to not give that token massive reflexivity. That might be the opposite of what he does, but he might deploy it at a price that's lower or right on par with what they pay, and just wait till it just bottoms out, and that's part of what brings it up. It's going to be very interesting. If he deploys ProveX at like the very bottom of Pulse Chain, that son of a bitch is going to get massive reflexivity on the way up, just from that, you know, depending on what he bonds it with. Somebody was saying, maybe you guys can let me know because I have not been watching him. Did he make a comment on what should I bond it with?
He said something like that, and then somebody else said if he bonded it with anything, any of his core coins, it would be a big mistake, and he should just bond it with USDC. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, like, I tend to agree, like, initially that it should not be one of the core coins. You know, it's just.
I agree 100%.
You don't want it to get sold into like if they want to sell it, okay, sell it into ETH, sell it into use stables and bridge out, and it doesn't affect the chain. You know,
I would like to see him come up with a PulseX, and please don't say PDI, but some sort of stable coin for PulseX, for Pulse Chain, and then launch ProveX and bond it with that and that alone.
Yeah, well, others will obviously bond it with whatever they want, but
for him, it would be a main bond.
I think the main thing is to just launch it, bond it with something that can't tank the chain because of all these people that got these big bonuses, like, you know, Bucks Crew and stuff. And then once it's found a bottom, you know, then you can bond it with the cores and things like that. But I think that's why he's asking. It's interesting he even asked.
I think he's trolling when he asks.
I know. He's like, what should I do, guys? I don't know what to do anymore.
Let me bond it with World Liberty Fries. Yeah.
Hell no, he's going to launch it and bond it with Mafia, bro.
Oh, I would sell everything. I would early end stake and sell everything and then never look back if he did that.
Now, if he bonds it with pTGC, you know, that'd be...
Now we're talking.
Well, it's going to be bonded with pTGC, one way or the other.
Yeah, didn't Dow get in with one of the pools?
Yeah, Dow picked some up, and probably will pick up some more when it launches. But yeah, I don't think that he's going to launch it anytime soon, to be honest with you.
I don't think he's even tweeted in 5 days, which is very unusual, which is why I was thinking that he actually might be launching it soon. When was the last time he did anything on X? I think it was like 5 days ago, no?
Let me look. No, I don't I think, let me see here. 21 hours ago.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that ProveX is what everybody's waiting for. They want to see what it's about. They want to see how good it's going to help the chain, if it's going to help the chain, what it's going to do.
I think Richard's just building what he wants to use. That's what I think. I think everything he builds is just so, you know, he builds what he likes, what he thinks should exist. You know? But I hope it deploys, and all of a sudden we see this massive offer, like, you know, whatever it is, like 5 million USD for 100 billion pulse chain, whatever it is. You know, just all of a sudden, all this freaking pulse chains is getting taken off the market without taking the price.
Oh, my buddy told me, he goes, yeah, the only reason he's building all of this shit is so he can fucking take all of that PulseX money and disappear, and nobody could ever say anything. I was like, fuck you.
Nah, man, he already has all that money, man.
That's what I was saying. I mean, they already said it's his money.
Yeah, it's his money. He's in the clear. Like, just needs to pay his taxes and come back and pull a CZ. Get back in the freaking saddle and, you know, bring in another 100,000 users or another 10,000 users or whatever.
If he ever started streaming again, that would happen very quickly.
Anyways, and it's getting interesting at these levels. That's all I'm saying. Looking at the numbers, sometimes, you know, you can't. Sometimes, to be honest, you can't completely articulate what you're seeing with all of the data points because your brain just been looking at it for so long. But you can see it. You know, you can see it. You can kind of feel it. But yeah, the fact now that, you know, the big assets are where they are, and this protocol is where it is, it starts to give you a very good indicator of things, and people need to be paying close attention.
Yeah, you know, we're sitting at all-time low prices. We have pretty much, I like to say, all-time low liquidity levels within the ecosystem. Obviously, when we first launched, we were lower, but there was a lot less token liquidity. So, like, all-time lows in dollar value based on, like, more current quantity of tokens, and obviously we add every single day more, or every couple days at least, just the automatic functions within the system. But we have very little liquidity in dollar value right now. Not because we removed anything, but because Pulsion has gone so low. It's so easy to start moving pTGC. It's so easy to start moving Pulse Chain to the upside. We have obviously the referral system that I'm hoping is coming in the next couple days, next few days, and I just feel really set up for success. You know, obviously, when you get to such low levels, you start getting to the point where really the only direction to go is up.
All right, guys, I got to take off a little early tonight, but good to talk with you.
Well, we've been going an hour and a half. I'm pretty much hitting my time too.
All right, good night, guys.
Right on.
Banana, you got anything?
Mike Smith is asking about the APY section on the site, the website where you stake your pTGC. And I'm just trying to figure out where he's talking about.
He's probably on the new site, and he's probably looking at the the reward calculator that's on the top right hand corner of the new site on the staking page, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Maybe he's asking how to use it.
Yep.
Is that what he's asking? How to use it, or?
He says it's the site where you stake your pTGC. I'm not sure if he says it's the original site. I don't think there's any APY on the original site, is there? Zen?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
You obviously get to see your rewards, you know, the amount that you've earned in total from every single category. You have the amount that's claimable at this time. But there's no APY calculations for the user.
Okay.
You can plug some in yourself, but
okay. I think I know what he's getting at. All right. Hang tight, Mike, and I'll answer your question in a minute. Yeah, I'm good with shutting it down, man.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my kids are getting antsy. I'm gonna put them to bed.
Okay. Have a good night, Zen. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for co-hosting Banana. Looks like Nano and Leak are already gone. Thanks to them for coming up, everyone that showed up to listen. Thanks for hanging out and listening. Again, you know, one thing nice about being so low on Pulse Chain is we get into those levels where it just feels like we only have up to go. Obviously, it can go lower. Obviously, the market can go lower. But these are great DCA levels. You know, you're technically getting, if you're a Pulse Chain sacrificer of, you know, obviously a normal amount of money, not the huge amplifiers, you're getting almost 10 times the amount for the same amount of value, plus 4 years later, 5 years later, kind of, you know, pTGC, I still think even a better hold. That's my own personal opinion. I think a great opportunity right here is right in front of us. Great time to DCA, great time to onboard. You know, only 3% of the supply is currently, or not circulation, sorry, LP. So there's not a lot out there for the rest of the world. Currently, that quantity of tokens is on a very cheap discount because chains pull back. So if you know anyone or if yourself possibly want to be exposed to pTGC at good prices, you know, go ahead and maybe try to onboard them and educate them, because these prices and even what's remaining in liquidity might not last long.
Mm-hmm. There are no guarantees, especially in crypto.
Yeah. Obviously, and then it can go the other direction too.
Yep.
Go lower, but you know, look at the chart. I definitely think this is a good range to consider a DCA strategy or a DCA strategy for an onboard, etc.
Oh yeah.
Cool, guys.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, man. Okay, that's it for spaces. Let's jump in and help Mike. Claimable. He wants to know where you let me get back on your question, Mike. I think when you put APY in there, it threw me off. On the pTGC website, UI staking, here it is up on the screen. Does the APY shown include the reflection rewards or just the staked rewards? Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have a wallet connected because I had to reinstall my Rabby today, and I haven't got my new wallet. My wallet's hooked up in there, but I hope this will answer your question. But this is where you connect your wallet, right, Mike? And then you can see your. This is terrible because I don't have a wallet connected. Literally, I don't have. I'd have to install it right now, but I'm not going to make you guys wait. But this will show right here your total held, total stake, total locked, and then your claimable from locking right here, claimable from staking. And then if you want to see just your reflections, then use when you connect the wallet, this turns to Oh, what's it turn to? I think it turns to stake pTGC, and you click on that. If you click on that, you can see your reflections. And okay, claimable TGC earned from staking. Yep. So what you can do is you can claim that pTGC when any pTGC that's right here, claim it. And once you claim it, it goes from the contract to your wallet and starts earning reflections. I hope that answers your question, man. If you can come into my stream, I stream every Sunday. If you want to jump in on my stream and we can talk about that, if that didn't answer your question. No, the reflect. Okay, here's how it works, man. Your reflections go straight to your wallet. That's what's cool about reflections is you don't have to do anything. They go straight to your wallet. So if you want to see them, write down your total balance of pTGC and then come back in an hour and maybe hit refresh on your wallet and you will have more pTGC. That's your reflections. You don't have to trigger anything. They show up in a kind of a spooky alien kind of way. But your staking rewards, you do need to trigger it because they're sitting in the contract. So you claim them, they go from the contract to your wallet and they start earning reflections just like your reflections do. And the locking too, your locking rewards, they're in the contract. You claim them and then they go to your wallet and start earning reflections. But your reflections go straight to your wallet. And I don't know why it is that way. That's a good question for Spaces, which we just got off of. I hope that answers your question, man. Even if all of my pTGC is staked. Yes. Okay, if you staked pTGC still earns reflections. So you can earn 3 different ways. You can hold pTGC to earn reflections. And then if you stake it, you're going to earn staking rewards in addition to your reflections. Then if you stake, you have the option to lock. And then you can earn locking rewards, which are just from other lockers, very sporadic. But if you're locked, you're earning locking rewards and then staking rewards and reflections, all 3. I was going to say something else about that. Just hold, stake, and lock, everybody. Well, sure. That works. Hey, Walter, you're the old guy. I'm an old guy too, man. See this silver, this gray? So, I was going to say something. Well, I'm glad that helped, man. I'm glad that helped. Yeah. I wish I could remember what it was I was going to say. I'm sure it was highly valuable. All right, guys. Well, I'm glad I was able to help. And gentlemen, have a good evening. I do appreciate it. Hey, it's 3 old guys in here, man. Myself, Walter, and Mike, at least. Hey, and you're back. And only been married 25 years. You're probably getting old. All right, guys. We'll see y'all later. Hey, forget it. I just like talking. Have a good week, man. Men. Have a good week, men.